Another one we probably haven't mentioned, Bix, is Alex Newbullen coming into the team from Melbourne. He's oozed leadership over the off-season and the pre-season, so super exciting, and I'm sure Crows fans can't wait to see what he does today.
Yeah, look, heard nothing but compliments about the way Alex goes about his business. Of course, he's the only player on the Adelaide list who's been involved in a premiership, so he knows what it's about. It was only a couple of years ago, and he has extensive finals experience as well. So that is invaluable for a lot of the youngsters within this team. Taylor Walker taking his position in the blue team in the forward line alongside Riley Thilthorpe and Josh Rochelle starting out of the goal square. Okay, let's have a look at the big ruckman. Riley O'Brien going up against his counterpart in McAndrew. And Harry Schomburg gets the first handball, and Adelaide are away. When I say Adelaide, I probably should say yellow.
Yellow and blue today.
Couldn't find a player there. It's marked in the back lines. Just shifting the ball. That looks like Josh Worrell gets his first taste of it. Some of the highlights from his pre-season have been outstanding. Some of his high marking has been very good.
Oscar Ryan going up against Jordan Dawson there. Huge raps on his pre-season as well. Little speedster off the half-back for yellow.
Seeing Rory Laird take his position in the back line as well, so most people expecting that he's going to spend a bit of time down there, and we're really looking forward to Wayne Miller getting an opportunity to show what he can do, and if he can stay out on the park. He's had such a horrible run with injuries, but he'll be playing across half-back tonight. So Adelaide get the ball out. Dawson turns onto that left foot, gets it down to Fogarty. Fogarty wasn't able to mark. Smith there gets the ball back, but a bit of a wayward kick. Riley O'Brien gets his hands on it and switches play. Been such an impressive player, Keane, hasn't he, since coming back into the side? And his emergence last year was really important, as we just talked about Wayne Miller, and that's the delivery that he brings there. Finds Alex Neil-Bullen across half forward. Neil-Bullen goes deep. Can he find Walker? No, he can't. Riley Thilthorpe there, wrapped up by Jordan Butts. Josh Rochelle gets it out to Isaac Cummings, squares it to the top of the square. Fogarty can't quite get off his player. The Yellows will probably force this through. Yes, the experience of Brodie Smith. Just composed there. We'll take the kick out. And the one thing we know Brodie can do is kick, and he goes long looking for Tyler Welsh. Doesn't find him. Josh Worrell intercepts, and the Blue Adelaide team are away and find Darcy Fogarty. That's Josh Worrell. I think that's what everyone wants to see, him becoming that intercept player for Adelaide.
Yeah, I mean, Josh Worrell was absolutely amazing at the start of the season last year. He was just hampered by that wrist injury and, never really hit that form that he started the season with. But, yeah, he's such a fine player, and he played forward and back as a junior, but he's certainly spending his spot at the half-back.
Darcy Fogarty, we know, is a sharpshooter. A bit of breeze around today, so this is by no means an easy kick. Probably started out to the right, runs a little bit to the right, and it does hold up. So they're against the breeze, but as we know, he is a fabulous kick. His conversion rate is outstanding, and that's a nice start for the blue team. And that was on the back of some good work by Josh Worrell. I guess Tyler Welsh I think he just lost sight of the ball in flight. Tried to turn around, thought it was going over his head, lost sight of it, and Worrell was able to keep his eye on it. And that led to a rebound entry to Adelaide, and there were free players everywhere. And when you look at Adelaide's forward line, you look at those three targets they're just talking at the moment, Fogarty, Thilthorpe and Walker, that is going to stretch, you would think, a lot of AFL defences.
It's pretty potent. You talk about Riley Thilthorpe missed majority of last season. But if those three can get working together, and you've got Josh Rochelle, Alex Newbullen, Ben Keys, those likes at your feet, should be a high-scoring season if everyone can stay fit and healthy.
McAndrew again winning the tap. He's a big boy, 210 centimetres, so there's some ground to move. As the kick comes away, Cumming gets a handball away. Neil-Bullen again. He's got Michaelani inside. Chose not to use him. Now he uses him. Will he have a shot at goal? No, he sits it up to the top of the square. There's Walker. No one at the ground there, and it's Harry Schomburg who's worked really hard to get back. Ball stays in and evades Laird. Pedler now. Time and space. He puts it out in front of Welsh. Welsh v. Worrell. Good body contact by Welsh, and he's got some wheels. Can he stand up? He does. And if he can get back onto it, he's got some support there in Toby Murray. Can't get it to him, so the blue team for the Crows probably dodged the bullet there, and Tyler Welsh unlucky not to have a shot on goal. Josh Worrell again. Tried to peel that one off into the middle of the ground. Captain couldn't quite get it, but it falls to Junior. And he is able to, Wayne Miller, get that ball out wide. That looks like Chase Jones, is it, on the outer side, Ebony?
Yep, Chase Jones. It's a wide deck, but...
We're a long way away from it, but I'm pretty sure it was Chase. As the
he
ball...
looks to have put on some size this off-season, like we spoke about earlier. He found himself outside the AFL side last year, so just putting on that size, just to be able to have a bit more power through his legs. He's a pretty explosive player. Yeah,
Brodie Smith again. That was a... that might have paid out of bounds in the full. That was off of Ben Keys. There's Laird. Oh, just a bit fierce with the handball there. Ball goes to ground on that outer side again. Just staying in. That looks like Sam Berry in the yellow side onto his left foot. Oh, the umpire's paid that. And that looks like Mick Andrew again. So he's had a few nice touches, started well. 2-on-1, forward. I think that was Burgess who's playing forward for the yellow team, competing against two Adelaide defenders.
Mike Keane for the kick-outs.
Yeah, well, look, he did it infrequently. I'll tell you what, he doesn't mind taking it on, and there's an example. He's certainly not going to die wondering. Anyway, Adelaide, get away with it. It's a long kick. Looks like Nick Murray kicking that. Fogarty competes. There's Cumming at the fall of it. Neil Bullen again. There's Laird. Well, nice overlap run. Michael Laney again finds himself in the front half of the ground, and that's a beautiful kick. Phil Thorpe gets back quickly. He's got Walker on over the back. Doesn't go for him. Instead, he finds Ben Keys. But just the power, I guess, of that rebound from Adelaide. It was a good contest at the front on the wing. But Max Michaelani, twice we've seen him now get into the front half of the ground. So I guess if you think about Max, he's done a lot of stopping roles in his first season. And now just continuing to develop. If he can develop that sort of attacking side of his game, he is going to be a very, very good player, if he isn't already.
I think what's been most impressive, Alex Neil Bullen's been involved in a lot of plays. I'm not quite sure if Max Michaelani was after Ben Keys there or Taylor Walker. It's a little bit windy, so
yeah, well,
could just be blowing.
Well, Max hit a beautiful pass with Riley Thilthorpe, so it was Thilthorpe that ended up entering it in, and you're right. I think he wanted Walker at the top of the square, but the one thing we know about Ben Keys is his ability to get in behind his player, and that was an example there. And I think the thing I've noticed about Ben Keys, particularly last year, his goal kicking has improved immensely, and he's the type of guy who just works really hard on all his deficiencies, and kicking hasn't been his strength, but last year his ability to hit the scoreboard was fantastic and thoroughly deserved to share the Malcolm Blight medal as the best and fairest player for Adelaide.
And you talk about that goal kicking, he's out there at the end of every session more than anyone else, so he's the last one off the track doing goal kicking, so maybe that's the secret, Bix.
It's generally a correlation, isn't there? Hard work and improvement. So Mick Andrew again gets the ball down to Harry Schomburg. He's sporting a really short haircut. Murray goes in short, looking for Burgess. It evades him. That was Austin McDonald, who's one of the top-up players who threw that on his left boot, couldn't steer it towards goal, and that's going to be a throw-in. Interesting, I'm looking forward to having a look at number 37, Blake Drury, who is been on North Melbourne's list as Max Michaelani comes off. Just looks like he might have dislocated his right thumb there, which isn't ideal.
He's had huge reps as well, Blake. Just really hard working and is fit into the program seamlessly. He spends the whole week with the AFL, and he'll be one of the key cogs of the sample team this year. Yeah,
so he's their marquee player for the Adelaide Crows sample team. So keep a close eye on him. I think he's going to be really good value. He'll find plenty of footy as we have a throw in there. We'll keep you updated on Max Michaelani as well. It just came off, and it looks like that right thumb was sort of on an angle that wasn't what it normally was. So this is Billy Dowling.
This was a quick kick out of stoppage by James Peatling, and yeah, Billy Dowling just found himself sitting in a hole, and now he gets a shot on goal.
Yeah, probably not the ideal spot for the quick kick in the middle of the ground, but Billy Dowling's another one whose kicking improved as the year went on, and he kicks this from 50. A little bit of a breeze behind him, and that one there is off target. Got the carry, no problems. Saw him in round 1 last year in the sample, kicked pretty much the winning goal from about 50 metres against South Adelaide down at McGain Stadium, but not to be that time. As Josh Worrell comes in, lopes onto his left foot, looking for Taylor Walker. Did all the work, couldn't quite mark it. Murphy gets it to Crouch. Not an ideal kick from Crouch. He's looking for Curtin. Couldn't find him, but Curtin wraps him up. And there's one thing we have seen Curtin do is tackle really strongly. It looks like he's put on a bit more size, Dan Curtin, and he was a big boy when he arrived. He looks even bigger now as he stands next to Hugh Bond. Soccer out of mid-air. The umpire pays it. Walker plays on. Gives it to Sid Draper, and he just pulls it to the left-hand side. So Sid Draper there gets his first shot on goal.
Well, Hugh Bond's another one that was in the AFL side of the back end last year. Rory Laird moving back there probably slips him out of the blue team.
Squeezes him out. And I was really impressed with Bond. He's just such a competitor. He just never liked losing a contest, and he lost very few. His challenge now is to add more of that offensive side to his game as we get a free kick. Free kick goes to Josh Worrell again. Now he's had a stack.
We get touches.
No, we're not getting the stats today, but you don't need the stat sheet to see that he's had a good start to the game. Goes to Matt Crouch. That's a better kick from Crouch. A bit neater than his first touch. This is James Peatling. JP is the nickname. Doesn't quite find his intended target. Crouch again wraps it up. Overlap run. Murphy on his left foot. Doesn't quite execute as well as he would like. Walker picks it up. Gets it out to Keys, who tries to fend off and is dispossessed. So Bond again, we know, as we said, he's a competitor. You're not going to get past him too often. And he wins himself a free kick. Ooh. Just goes wide. Billy Dowling again. Billy Dowling goes long. Big pack. McAndrew brings it to ground. Hinge to Laird. Got plenty of numbers out the back. Keane's got time. Finds the target. It looks like Matt Crouch. He wants someone to come at him. It's not unusual for Crouch to find someone on a short, sharp lead. Lockie Murphy in the blue side, so he's done well to, at this stage, find himself in that stronger side. Yellow defence been holding up reasonably well. Want to get rid of it, they do. Oh, nice quick hands. There's some good running power from Schomburg. He looks to be moving well. Good tackle. Schomburg again. Neil Bourne wins the ball. Yeah, he is. He's got some time now. Looks for Keys again. And that looks like Borlace, who got back, got the ball to ground, but back on it quickly was Keys. Murphy on his left foot. Who's he looking for? He's looking for Curtin. Curtin just over his head and out of bounds on the full. So the yellow side will switch play. In actual fact, that's a horrible kick. Tried to switch play it. It's actually gone. I'm not sure if it actually came back into play, so it might be a throw-in, is it? We'll wait and see. Because he didn't bring it back into the playing field and it just went directly out of bounds, it won't be out on the full. It'll just be a throw-in. So it wasn't a great kick there.
There's a little bit of breeze.
Yeah, was that Sam Berry, was it?
Yeah, Sam Berry. So it looks like Taylor Walker's taking the forward 50 stoppages again.
Good tackle again. Borlace caught there, dispossessed by Keys. Curtin on the bottom of that pack. It's quite remarkable, isn't it, Taylor Walker? It doesn't matter which ruckman he's against. He's up against McAndrew, who's 210 centimetres. He can just move them out of the way with his strength. McAndrew takes that one dangerously out of the ruck. He's able to get it onto his boot. There's Riley O'Brien back there. There's a whistle on play. It's a hold, is the call.
Hinge on Gallagher. Carl Gallagher is playing.
Yeah, Carl Gallagher, of course, the Irish experiment from last year.
Experiment?
Yeah, it is. It's always an experiment when you bring a young player over, and that one there is a nice kick, gets it to centre half forward. Crows are on the go, though, again. There's Laird to Peatling. Peatling this time gets out in front of Walker, moves well. He's got Curtin ahead of him. Peatling running hard, won't use him. Fogarty's the deepest, but he chooses not to go there. Oh, that's a risky kick. A turnover in the middle of the ground, and that's Ned Atkinson, son of Brodie Atkinson, of course, a player who played for the Adelaide Crows back in the late 90s. Taylor Walker gets another go at it. Starts and goes back inside again.
So it looks like Jake Saligo is playing on the wing in this next rotation. So there's been talks over the summer that Jake Saligo, Jordan Dawson, those types of players may spend a little bit more time on the wing with the likes of, James Peatling coming through that midfield.
Well, that's the thing. I think you look at Adelaide now and you see the added depth. If you think about, we're expecting Isaac Rankin to spend a fair bit of time playing through the middle of the ground, and I guess we're hoping that it might be someone, Pedler, if he plays, will have some shots there as the ball gets switched around and gets entered in. Curtin wins the ball down low. There's another handball from Darcy Fogarty. Murphy on his left foot, can't get it to boot, but gets the handball out and finds Josh Shelley, who snaps it very quickly and gets a goal for Adelaide from the top of the goal square. So nice bit of work from Wayne Miller. Got the ball in deep, as we just see Jordan Butts just limping off now. He's got a little bit of a...
He's had that issue last year. He had surgery in the off-season on his foot, so he just got back in post-Christmas, so hopefully he's okay.
Hopefully that's a knock and nothing more too serious. But I guess Josh Shelley, we sometimes underestimate his ability to get the ball to boot and still be able to control it. We think about that unbelievable match-winning goal against Essendon in what was one of the highlights of last year, and that was on his left foot. This one was on his right, where he's just able to quickly sort of jump on that loose ball, get it to boot quickly, and still keep it on target. So we get first look now at the second ruck set up. So you got Riley Thilthorpe for the blue team and Toby Murray for the yellows.
Toby Murray also looks to put on a little bit more size as well. So those Murray brothers can add the muscle.
Yeah, Toby, 202 centimetres, so he's got some really good size about him. Wins that tap. Draper on the ground, looking for Matt Crouch. Couldn't quite find him, but well done by Crouch, just to hold the ball up and make sure that it didn't exit the centre square. So once again, a lot of finger pointing out there, so players working on their structures, no doubt. Well, that's nearly a throw there. Yeah, hard to handball one-handed. And good
Harry
tackle.
Schoenberg coming back from his Achilles last year, so he missed a fair chunk of the pre-season last year and hit some kind of form in the sample, but it'll be exciting to see what he can do, because prior to his Achilles injury, he was showing some signs of promise.
Yeah, and a bit of the forgotten man, I guess, for Adelaide. When he missed 12 months, that spot in the midfield was filled by other players. So as different guys got their opportunities, and now he finds himself a fair way down the pecking order. If you think that, as we said, Rankin will go through there, Peatling arrives. Sam Berry went in there and made a bit of a fist of it last year as well. So he's got a bit of work to do to try and regain that spot. Good attack on the ball there by Nick Murray. Can't quite take it. And the blue team there force it through. Who was that rushed it through?
Jake Saligo, just running that wing pattern as well.
That's the one thing we do know, that the wing role is such a demanding one. You're literally working from the defensive goal square to probably the 50-metre line in attack and sometimes deeper. So he's got a big engine, as we saw Borlays go for the footy there, able to get it to ground. Just holding the ball there. Just couldn't pick up that player for Adelaide as the blue team take it on. And there he is, Dan Curtin wins the ball. Not sure about that kick. He set his skipper a fair task there, but he was up to it. And he wins it and rolls onto that trusty left foot, looking for Fogarty. Fogarty takes the mark out in front. So now it's one out, and you've got the big man in Riley Thilthorpe as the deepest. Can he get a one-on-one contest here? No, he can't. And it was it Nankervis who pushed back? No, it wasn't Nankervis. Might have been Dylan Wimpress, one of the sample top-up players who got back, just created that extra body down there and made sure that Riley Thilthorpe couldn't get a look at it. It's a snap on goal. Got it up in the air and the wind got a hold of it, so that's out of bounds on the full. So James Borlace to bring the ball back in. Played a bit of footy last year, James.
He did. Jordan Butts, getting injured last year, opened up an opportunity for Borlace.
And that kick.
Big boy.
He's got the biggest set of shoulders you've ever seen. And that one there, out of bounds on the full. And that a couple of times they've looked to square the ball up. They find the skipper in Dawson. Dawson looks for Curtin. Brody Smith gets the ball to ground. And the Yellows looking to run out of there. Smith in all sorts of trouble. Still finds a player. Drury gets it to Bond. Bond gives it up. And there's an intense pressure from the Crows side. Dawson again. Back to Crouch. And then get it out to the open side of the ground. That looks like Jake Saligo out
on
there.
His housemate, Luke Nankervis. Couple of good touches from Jake Saligo on the wing.
Once again, just showing the amount of ground that he's covering. And he goes short. And that's a little lapse in concentration.
As Charlie Edwards on Josh Rochelle, he just took his eyes off where the footy was. Jake Saligo probably on his range there and again finds another housemate in Josh Rochelle.
What has been impressive from the blue side is there's been a number of times when the ball's been on one side of the ground and they've really worked hard to get it out on the open side of the ground into space and found a player out there and created these opportunities like this. Set shots 30 metres out. That's what you want. High percentage chance to score a goal. That one's, you can just see the ball holding up there in the breeze. That was probably 35 and only just got the journey. So the Crows side, the blue team, that's the stronger of the two teams. 3-3-21 are leading the yellow team 3 behinds and probably kicking against the 3-goal breeze, the blue Crows team. So ball brought in. Short again. Ooh. This is Kyan Smith, one of the Crows top-up players. Finds himself on the 50-metre line. Left footer. Nice kicking style. Can't find anyone though. And the Irishman Mark Keane wins the ball. Plays on. Goes back down the skinny side looking for Nick Murray. Kick was well weighted but it couldn't quite get there. Smith was able to get his hand in there. And now the ball is up for grabs. And it looks like
Blake Drury
just copped one. Looks like his collarbone or his shoulder. He's just cradling that. Adelaide through Peatling go back inside to Murray. Dawson looking for the run of Laird, didn't use him. Turns onto the left foot, gets it out onto the open side of the ground. Looking for Curtin. Curtin dispossessed with the tackle. The umpire said he didn't have control of it. Well,
Hugh Bond's taken it.
Yeah, he thought he had control of it and I dispossessed him. That's a free kick, but the umpire thought differently. So I'm not sure he's got the journey from there. If we've seen anything from the kick so far, that breeze is probably going to restrict him from being able to get the distance now. He's just got to be careful here he doesn't leave it on the line and get an easy punch through. So maybe set it up to the top of the square. No, he's having a kick, and I think he's probably got the journey comfortably. So I'm a poor judge, but he's just pushed it out to the left. So we're very confident there with that kick. And as we know, Ebony, you mentioned a bit of breeze around, hard to judge with some of those set shots.
Well, yeah, blue team with the 3 goals for. So we'll have to see next quarter what the wind is actually doing. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe would have liked to have seen Dan Curtin pass it off. Taylor Walker, kind of got rid of his defender.
So a bit of control played by the yellow team. We haven't seen that a lot from them. They've probably been under a fair bit of pressure and just banged it forward. It'd be interesting to see if they try to change direction. No, they've ended up bailing out down the line, which is a good result for the blue team because this is what happens. You're able to get the ball to ground, and now we'll see if they can run it away. Dawson is starting to work his way into the team. Curtin's in behind his player. We've got 2 Adelaide players sprinting back towards goal. Phil Thorpe and Walker. He goes short, finds Rochelle. Phil Thorpe still on his own, and Rochelle finds him comfortably. Walker front and centre. So there's the Adelaide blue team sharing that ball around. And that's on the back of really good defence from the blue team. So they force the yellow team to kick it long down the line, and then with some rebound are able to move it really quickly and have players in behind their defenders. And Adelaide would love that if they're able to do that throughout the year.
You do get excited when you see a fit and healthy Riley Thilthorpe alongside a fit and healthy Taylor Walker and Darcy Fogarty. Yeah, it's exciting.
Taylor Walker slots that through. The umpire hardly moved except to crane his neck back and watch it sail over his head. So such a beautiful kicking action and execution we've seen from Taylor Walker over the journey. And Dan Curtin been involved as well. So Curtin starting and playing predominantly across half forward. And that's going to be an interesting watch for Adelaide because they've got some size down there. Like if you play Fogarty, Walker and Thilthorpe and Curtin at 197, he's a big boy, but looks to be covering the ground really well. And the other thing, of course, is we can see Fogarty waiting to come back onto the ground. So when you rotate a number of those guys through the forward line, really you'll probably have all four of them in the forward line at the same time. So Adelaide look to be playing with the one really big man in Thilthorpe, and then you've got Walker and Curtin and/or Fogarty as two other sort of leading targets. Matt Crouch wins the ball, gets it to Peatling. Peatling just gets it out wide. That's Hinge on his left foot, straightens up. Shelley finds himself in front. Curtin does the rove and gets it out to Thilthorpe. Thilthorpe to Neil Bullen. Keys is hot, and he's going to be wrapped up. Probably not the ideal entry kick. The entry kick goes in, and it's not quite deep enough for Thilthorpe, so it ends up going to Rochelle, which they'll probably just like to manufacture it to one of those three big players that we talked about as the targets. So the Blue Crows team, 4-4-28 to the yellow 3 behinds. The blue is the stronger side. Looks like most of the first choice players, and they're kicking also against a 3-goal breeze, I'd suggest. So been pretty dominant in this first quarter so far. 26.5 minutes in. The yellow team now got their hands on the footy. Sam Berry goes forward. Got a one-on-one there. Looking for Murray. Got it the ground, but it's the blue team again. Oh, Wayne Miller, not the execution we normally expect from him. Ball goes along the ground.
So Jordan Dawson's gone back. So he was seen to do a bit of that in the back end of the quarters last season. So that could be something else that Matthew Nicks looks towards with Jordan Dawson going behind the ball. And those last couple of minutes that they essentially call red time.
Yeah, he wins himself a free kick and then they transfer play. Adelaide going forward. Plenty of yellows there. 3 up in that contest to try and get it to the ground. Crouch starting to accumulate the footy. Loose players everywhere from Adelaide. Look at Ben Keys. Just rolled around on his right, if you don't mind, against the breeze and finds Josh Rochelle. So I guess that one there, when you look back upon that, 3 yellow players up. A couple of them came off their man to impact the contest. You've actually got to clear the area. If you get a soft drop where the ball drops down, Matt Crouch was right at the foot of it, and then he's able to use it. And all those 3 players that flew are now out of position, and Adelaide had loose players everywhere. Keys found it, got it to Rochelle. He's lining up for his second, I reckon. That looks good off the boot. So they got another one. And Keys' good form in the front half continues. That just goes to show the confidence, I guess. He takes the ball, rolls around on his right foot, being a natural left footer, and finds Josh Rochelle. So Rochelle's had a bright start.
They also look to, I think they did at the back end of last season as well, just to really centre up that ball, not, take those low percentage kicks.
Okay, there we have it. That's the end of the first quarter. So just under 30 minutes. The Blue Crows team 5-4-34 to the Yellow Crows team just the 3 behinds. We'll be back shortly with more.
We've overcome challenges with goodwill, vision and a determination to deliver on a site that's been a traditional football ground for over 100 years.
What we see here as a government is an opportunity not just to invest in an important institution in our state, in the Adelaide Footy Club, but to actually make it an investment in the things that brings community and society together.
This is intergenerational. It is the most significant and ambitious project in the club's history.
So I'd like to tip my hat to all those people that have withstood the controversy, gone through the difficulty, made the tough decisions to finally arrive at this point. To that end, John, I do sincerely wish you every success. I hope that the legacy of this facility sets the footy club up for a long time to come, so that a future generation of South Australians look back and say, this is pretty good, what was all the fuss about, let's just get on with it.
And Premier, your government's financial support has been critical to our ability to proceed to press go on this site. Without it, we wouldn't be here today. Not bad for a passionate Port Adelaide supporter, I might add.
And local residents in this part of Adelaide, when they're able to walk around on this field and enjoy it and catch a footy with their son or daughter and say, you know what, yesterday the Crows girls were playing here, the night before the Crows boys were training here, and today we're using the exact same facilities. How good is that?
Now the real work begins. And it's much like a premiership. The prize awaits, and it'll be worth the journey and certainly celebrating.
This is our story of our people and our pride. A whole state of us, bound by the game and the colours we wear. We worship the dreamers, the courageous, the magicians, the audacious. Through city laneways, we cross the bridge as one. We are made from South Australia, and this is our place.
Okay, we're back here at the internal trial, the live stream on afc.com.au, the Crows blue team, which is, of course, the stronger team. 5 goals, 4 in the first quarter, 34, leading the yellow team, just the 3 behinds, kicking against the... So, McAndrew, 210 centimetres. He's actually worried Riley O'Brien a little bit with that extra height, so keep an eye on that as we watch this game go on and whether O'Brien can wear him down. So, a good bounce by the umpire. Bit of a stalemate there, both guys getting their hand on it, socked forward by the blue team. No, it's a free kick there, tackled without the footy. Lockie Murphy wheels onto his left foot. Once again, that urgency to get it in long to the tall timber. Thilthorpe doesn't get a jump at it. Walker across the front. Neil Bullen wins his ball on the ground and just been tackled. And we're calling the game here amongst the crowd. A lot of fun here, Ebony. We're right amongst it. But ball up inside forward 50 as we see Taylor Walker do the ruck work again, and that was really clever work. I think he might have got that down to Sid Draper, who's run through and snapped a beautiful goal. So that's his first goal for the Adelaide Footy Club, and I'm not sure we could have a replay for that, but it was just really good work by Walker. We were just talking about how he has the ability to move the opposition ruckman, no matter what size, and he's giving away multiple inches to McAndrew, but he was able to get him out the way and get the ball into the path of Sid Draper, who was on the move, and then was just able to get it onto his, might have been his left foot, I think, now that I think about it, and just snapped it. The umpire used a bit of his legs. He did a bit of leg work running to make sure to try and get under the ball, but it was good enough and through for a goal. So the continued dominance of the blue team, 6-4-40, 3 behinds to the yellow Crow side.
Just a little bit of an injury update. Max Makalani, we saw some promising signs of him coming off the half back in the first quarter, but unfortunately he's dislocated his thumb, so he won't be coming back on the field today. So Crows fans have to wait a little bit longer to see what he can do for 4 quarters.
Yeah, there we go. Draper again. Did he get one in the back there? No, the umpire said no. Once again, that's the thing that is impressive. Sid thought he had one, but just that acceleration, that loose ball there, was able to accelerate and get to it first, which is really good work. What about that? Matt Crouch, fend off, finds Draper, who gets to the outside. Walker lets it over the back. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Umpire says, yep, that's okay. The tunnel ball through the legs. Walker on the left after receiving the handball from Neil Bullen. Good spoil there by Jordan
playing
Butts.
on Riley Thilthorpe.
No, was that Bond or was it? I think it was Jordan Butts, was it? Anyway, we'll keep calling the footy. There's Chase Jones gets the ball. Alex Neil-Bullen dispossessed, and he's been called holding the ball. So the yellow team just holding up for the moment. Just surveying their options. Not a whole lot on. That's Cook playing across half back. In the end goes long. And that's the one thing the blue team have done pretty well. They've forced the yellow team to go long down the line. And when you do that, blokes like Keane and Worrell and Cook Keane and Worrell and Murray are licking their lips because they'll get a run and a jump at it and get it over the line. So boundary thrown right in front of us here on the wing. Ball gets down the front. Oh, Zach Taylor thought he might have earned himself a free kick, but no, nothing coming. Gets out to Millerer. Millerer misses the entry kick. There's Bond again.
Had a couple of nice touches off the half
intercepting, and I guess that's what we were asking for earlier in the game, for him to be a little bit more offensive in the way he goes about it. We've seen that so far today. There's the yellow team. Don't want to try and kick it long down the line again. They've been cut off a few times, so it goes back to Butts. What can he do? A little bit of breeze out there, so this kicking's not really his forte. So he's got a short one there. Oh, it's a risky one. And there's a turnover coming, so Adelaide is that through Saligo. Saligo shoots it back. It's a great kick and finds Riley O'Brien. So once again, great defence from Adelaide. So Jordan Butts had nowhere to go. There was no loose options. So he's forced to try and pick one out. And that was turned over, and Jake Saligo continues his great form from last year. Just won the ball 2 or 3 steps and then rifled it back to Riley O'Brien. Hit him on the chest, and he's only about 12 metres out. Has to snap it around on his left foot. The umpire covers some ground but says that's okay. So Riley Thilthorpe gets his first goal. And once again, it's the turnover and then getting it back to those free players in Adelaide's forward 50 as we see a number of interchanges.
You can actually hear, the yellow team screaming at Jordan Butts to, change the angle of the ground, but he's not really confident with a kick over 30 odd metres, and then just Blue able to rebound that back inside 50. And Jake Saligo probably, on his second, third goal assist.
Yeah. And also, as you said, probably a 3-goal breeze. So, if you have the ball and you're not certain about your kick and you're not super confident, kicking into the breeze as well, it's a tough ask. And the last couple have been turned over with the long kick down the line. So he was desperate not to do that. But in the end, the blue team defended really well. As Riley O'Brien, again, trying to come up against his counterpart in McAndrew. He wins the ball, McAndrew, down to Berry. Gets it on to Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor goes long and strong, looking for Burgess. Burgess gets in behind Murray, but just can't find a handle on it. It'll go over the line. And one behind. So that was a nice bit of work out of the centre square. So McAndrew is impressive when he jumps. When you're 210 centimetres and you're jumping, that's hard to get over. As the Blue Crows team bring it in, go long, get it across the halfway line. Marked by Dawson. Quick handball to Alex Neil-Bullen, who runs and kicks a goal. That's almost world record pace. That's 3 possessions. That's Nick Murray. Plays on, kicks it into the Crows attacking half. Dawson marks it in the centre circle, the back of the centre circle, handballs to Neil-Bullen, who runs 15 and kicks a goal.
Was it a set play?
I'm not sure you can set play 80 metres, take a pack mark, but I tell you what that does show, though, they want to be direct and they want to move the ball quickly, and Alex Neil-Bullen is playing some really good footy. Yeah, so just an update on Max Michaelani. As we said, he dislocated his thumb early in the first quarter. We're just looking now, he's up sitting with the coaches in his civvies, so his day is done. So let's hope that there's not too much damage there, and that he's not going to miss too much footy. So I'm sure we'll keep you updated with that as the afternoon continues and in the coming days. Back to the middle of the ground. What can Riley O'Brien do? He comes across the line this time, looking to do something a bit different. Stalemate in the middle. The umpire saying that, you're holding on. Getting a bit frustrated, Riley O'Brien.
A bit of grief, isn't he? just find Jordan Dawson spoiling the ball. Zach Taylor comes in 1v1 with Chris Burgess.
Yeah, nice bit of play there. That was Sam Berry, pulled it in, gets the handball out, but unfortunately just wrapped up instantly. Yeah. And it's going to be an interesting watch. Lockie McAndrew is, like I said, he's creating some issues for Riley O'Brien. Has another go. O'Brien this time gets his hand on it, gets it down, finds Saligo. Saligo just tosses it out in front of Keys. Keys wins himself a free kick. Now, you'd expect Adelaide to try and change direction here. Got a short one on first of all. Matt Crouch will try and bring it back through the middle. He's waiting now. Saligo's on the move. Yep, they try and change direction, get it to Worrell. Laird and Keane are both set up, trying to generate some width. Once again, the yellow team defended that well, forced it down the line, but there's a nice movement from Curtin. Impressive figure when he gets the ball out in front. He wheels around, goes long, got a one-on-one ahead of the footy. That's Taylor Walker. Walker directs it down deliberately just to try and get it to ground to the smaller players. He's back on it, wins it again. Fogarty now turns onto his left foot, which is generally pretty good. That one there, not ideal, but good pressure. And there's Neil Bullen again, and he's going to kick another goal. So he's got the Crows' last 2 goals. And they've got the 9th for the blue team, but just good movement again. And really impressed Dan Curtin, that sort of movement from half forward, leading up towards the footy. Took the mark, wheeled around, got it moving quickly. So that looks nice for Adelaide.
Riley Thilthorpe on the bench, so yeah, you've got those 3 tools in Dan Curtin, Darcy Fogarty, and yeah, Dan Curtin certainly impressing. Watched him a couple of weeks ago kick 3 goals in the internal trial, so you know he's put in a really strong pre-season. I think there was knocks on potentially his defensive pressured game, and yeah, watching him in the pre-season, his ferociousness in his tackling has certainly come a long way, and like you said, put on a mountain of size, which is scary because he's only 19.
Yeah, looks a bit more dynamic. Last year, first year, just was caught watching a few times when around the footy, but looks much more comfortable and just moving with a bit more power and speed, which is great to see. McAndrew again wins that one, gets across the line, follows it up, lays a tackle, but it's the blue team, gets it out. And Matt Crouch goes long, looking for Josh Rochelle, doesn't find him. James Borlace down there, led Darcy Fogarty to the ball and gets it out over the line. So we'll see Taylor Walker, I expect, do some ruck work down there. Got an assist to Sid Draper in the last time there was a boundary throw. Draper's on the bench at the moment with Riley Thilthorpe, so it won't be him this time. He'll get on the move this time. There we go. That was Fogarty taking the ruck work there. Clears a path. Who was that? Might have been, is it Josh Rochelle? Yes, it is. So Rochelle's got his 3rd goal. So that one there, Darcy Fogarty went right back against Lockie McAndrew, and then the boundary throw was a little bit short. The ball ended up bouncing without any ruckman getting a hand on it, and then it was Josh Rochelle who jumped onto it first, and I reckon that's another left foot goal. So just showing his prowess around goals. He's got 3. Crows blue team have 10-4-64. Lead the Crows yellow team just a solitary 4 behind, so yet to register a goal, but it's the strong team for the Crows in the blue, and they're kicking with a bit of a breeze this quarter.
Murphy's finding himself on the wing, just with a mix of rotation. Chase Jones at the half forward. So, yeah, we talk about the dynamics changing up in the midfield to have a bit more quick feet through, and they've certainly shown that with their rotations today.
Yeah, Riley Thilthorpe now goes into the ruck. Let's have a look at him against, who's the rucking? Is it Lockie McAndrew still for the yellow team? I think it is. Not a great bounce for the umpire. He'll throw it up this time. If you're just tuning in, Lockie McAndrew has been reasonably impressive so far in this game. He's had the better of Riley O'Brien so far. He's 210 centimetres, so he's a man mountain. And he gets his hand on that one first. Thilthorpe gets a little touch on it. And this is what Sid Draper brings, a bit of that burst away speed. Couldn't get away from it that time. And Braden Cook wins the ball and gets it back again after losing it. McAndrew handballs it off. That looks like Schomburg, who gets it out to Drury, who went off earlier with a knock to the shoulder, but he looks like he's okay. He's back in business. Just surveying his options. Looks like he's going to go long. Toby Murray is his target, and he gets up and takes a nice mark. Toby Murray also over 200 centimetres, so you're going to see him in the sample doing some good work, I'm sure, this year. Had a couple of games where he kicked 4 goals last year. Nankervis takes it back to Murray, and Murray lowers the eyes and finds Lockie McAndrew.
Your man, Lockie McAndrew. Yeah, it's an interesting one, bringing him in with on the back of, Kieran Shaw potentially may miss some footy at the start of the year. So, yeah, McAndrew might find himself as a number 1 ruck in sample.
Yeah, well,
I've spent some time in Sydney. Is that
yeah,
right? Yeah.
He was delisted from Sydney last year. Did play some AFL footy. We'll ask Adam Kelly about his list situation, because I'm not sure he can be on the Crows list at this stage. He's just a train-on player. And I was just about to say, let's have a look at his kicking and what it's like. That looks reasonably neat. And he's been able to steer that through, and he's kicked the first goal for the yellow side. And he's probably been the shining light for the yellow team. Schomburg's done some nice things, and there's been a couple of others. But it was good work by Toby Murray. He was involved in that, took a really nice contested mark. Luke Nankervis was also involved. So hopefully now we see them challenge the Crows blue team. And we'll see if we can have this game a little less one-sided. So Riley O'Brien goes back onto the field and back into the middle. He'll be up against Toby Murray this time, so different opponent in the ruck. So we've got Alex Peatling, Jake Saligo and Sid Draper, the 3 on ballers. They'll be up against Drury, who's the new Crows marquee player in the sample, Harry Schomburg. And also, can't see on the Zach Taylor on the other side of this contest. O'Brien this time wins the tap and wins himself a free kick. Got it down nicely in the path of the Crows player. Peatling wanted a handball, but O'Brien gets back quick and goes long. Breeze just carried it over the head of Thilthorpe, who flew uncontested, but some really nice work there in defence. That's Nankervis looking to get it back. Didn't quite get there, but they do some good work. And that's Carl Gallagher who leads up and takes the ball. Tyler Welsh got rid of his man. Nick Murray's looking around to the umpire and said, what about the hands in the back? He said, you got nothing except a 50-metre penalty. I'm not sure quite why. Maybe he was asked to come back. He didn't hear it. Well, but maybe the umpire's just got a bit of sporting spirit. He wants to just make this game a little bit closer. But good work by Welsh. Once again, looked like he might have used his hands.
But you're allowed to now, like with the new,
just eased him under it, but took the mark, and then rather fortuitously got the 50-metre penalty. But let's see if he can kick 2 in a row for the yellow team. Starts it right, stays right. Just the drop didn't quite get to where it wanted to get to. Just a little bit awkward on the drop with this breeze. Laird plays on. Haven't seen a lot of Laird. Looks long for his skipper in Dawson. That's always a good move. Kick it to the captain. Looked out of bounds, but no, Neil Bullen, very clever. Dawson ends up with it. Running onto the left foot. He's got a couple of targets in front of him. I think he was looking at Thilthorpe. Shelley just came across the front of him. Gets it back to Walker. Sidesteps, left foot. Doesn't matter with Walker. Puts it up into the middle of the ground, and that's Sid Draper. Flying for the footy. Once again, hard not to be impressed with the young man in Draper with what he did last year. He was injured early, played under some duress in the National Championship, so we didn't see the best of him. But when he came back and played in the league side for South Adelaide, made a marked difference to their on-ball department. And to do that as an 18-year-old is not easy at sample level, and he's come in and he's done some nice things today. Gets a chance to kick his second goal. Ooh. Gave him a few too many raps a little bit early, didn't I?
He just stubbed at that then. Yeah, he's got some impressive quick feet. So obviously the coaching staff would like what they've seeing him play in the blue team. But it'll be interesting to see, where he fits into this team with Isaac Rankin coming back, after the All-Stars match.
Yeah, what he does bring is that dynamic movement, and we've seen it a couple of times today, and we know that Rankin brings it, and we know that probably Adelaide have lacked that a little bit. They've been a little bit one pace through the middle of the ground, so that is going to be very advantageous to Adelaide. Thilthorpe gets his hands to it, couldn't bring it down, comes back to Curtin, not quite enough elevation on that shot at goal, and it looks like the Yellows are going to take it away. Braden Cook playing either wing or half back. Spent a bit, was named and started at half back. Finds himself with the ball. He likes to carry it. Finds Brodie Smith. Oh, that was Ned Atkinson there. Just spent it before he had it. Wins the ball back. But just unfortunate. Just took his eye off it. And it'll be a ball up. So Crows were able to affect that turnover in their front half. They love doing that. Riley O'Brien takes the ball, runs away from stoppage. Not sure about the drop on the ball, but it's had the desired result. And Dan Curtin was able to move his man out of position there. I think that was, he's up against Dylan Wimpress, who is one of the top-up players. And it's a 50-minute penalty. Maybe Dylan wasn't happy with the decision, but now Dan Curtin is definitely going to get on the scoreboard with a goal, you would think, after leaving his last shot short.
Yeah, couldn't quite see what was going on there, but yeah, Dan Curtin threw his second.
Second, first?
Nah, he's kicked one in the first.
That's right, he did, kicked it beautifully, so he's got a couple.
Rochelle's got a couple. Riley Thilthorpe.
Rochelle's got 3, I reckon, by my tally. Riley Thilthorpe's got one, Sid Draper's got one, Taylor Walker's got one, so
sharing the load.
they are indeed, and I guess that's what you want. You want a lot of these players to get some nice touches. Riley O'Brien will be happy. Got that nice takeaway then and got the ball forward. As I said, it wasn't the perfect kick, but you get it in quick and you always give your forwards a chance, and Dan Curtin was good enough to be able to use his body to take that mark. Now Riley O'Brien comes up against Lockie McAndrew again. So this centre bounce work has been interesting. McAndrew's had the better of him in here. He's tried a couple of things. Looks like he's going to jump against him here, or is he going to go across the line? Goes across the line. Tries to nullify the jump once again. Oh, I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure about that decision. I thought it was going the other way, but in the end, Riley O'Brien, the tactic works. He wins the free kick, gets it deep forward quickly. Curtin again in the contest. Can't win it this time. Dowling wins the ball, just gets out of bounds. Is that Nankervis on the outer side? We are a long way from the action.
Binoculars.
Yeah. So Adelaide with a boundary throw in. Riley Thilthorpe going to contest in the ruck against McAndrew. Thilthorpe wins it, gets his hand on it. Quick kick forward, looks like Curtin again was touched. He wins it, gets the back to Saligo. Saligo's on the wing, he's just holding out beautifully, creating that wall, and the handball was fed back by Curtin, and Saligo from about 45 off one step snapped that through. Probably gives you an indication of how strong the wind is. But Dan Curtin impressing again, just looks like he's always been on the front foot. He's just read the ball a little bit quicker when it's come forward and led his opponent to the footy. So good signs for Adelaide. Would have been a mark except it was touched. Taylor Walker's just pulled rank. He's just called out to Dan Curtin. Curtin's thinking, I'm going all right here, I'll stay. But then Matt Crouch has decided to come off. But Curtin comes off as well. 20-minute mark of this quarter. We're going to speak to Adam Kelly, Adelaide footy boss at halftime. So we'll get a bit of an update on Max Michaelini. We'll talk about Lockie McAndrew and his situation, about what he's up to with training with Adelaide at the moment. I believe he might be going to play with Nord in the sample, so we'll ask him all those questions along with a couple of others as well. He'll join us for an interview at halftime. Go back into the centre square. O'Brien locks horns again, gets the hand on the ball. That time it's Schomburg gets it forward, but Keane just outpoints his opponent there, and that's a 50-metre penalty. Toby Murray just got to stand on the mark once you're told to stand by the umpire, so sometimes it takes a little bit of time to get back into the groove of some of these rules.
Well, they've had umpires for a little while now.
Yeah.
Jordan Dawson from 17 with the breeze.
Wow. So there's an indication once again how strong this wind is. I'm not sure the 50-metre penalty was actually 50, but in the end it was Mark Keane just hands it off to Jordan Dawson. I reckon it's probably 65. A little bit generous.
Given him
You've given him 70, you reckon, but it did clear the line comfortably, and Adelaide again just blow this lead right out now. So 72 points, 12 goals neat, 13-5. The strong blue team, which is pretty much the first choice players. 83 points are leading the rest of the Crows group, including a half a dozen top-up players. 1 goal, 5-11. So be interesting to see what they decide to do at half-time, whether they continue to go with this or whether they maybe look to even the sides up. Often they put the best defenders against the best forwards. That often is one way you can go about evening it up. So we'll maybe ask Adam Kelly that. He's going to join us in around 5 or 6 minutes. So don't go anywhere. I hope you're enjoying this live stream of the Crows internal trial from Port Pirie. Riley O'Brien gets that knock forward. James Peatling runs onto it, throws it on his left foot. Thilthorpe, 1-on-1 against Butts. Butts gets there first and just sees it out of bounds. So Thilthorpe, he's looked dangerous a couple of times, but
probably just that delivery as well.
Hasn't quite imposed himself just yet. When you consider Adelaide have kicked 13 goals, he's just got the one. Walker again wins it from the ruck, feeds it out. Looks like Rochelle. Another handball, comes back to Saligo. He couldn't quite handle it. Peatling, Saligo, and then out to, I can't see who that is on the other side.
Rory Laird had pushed up there.
Laird, okay. Goes into a dangerous hot spot. The yellow team just trying to get it out of there. That looks like Peatling again wins it, tries to get it out, but the pressure eventually gets it out of bounds for the yellow team.
Rory Laird just finding himself in the forward 50, shuffling out now, but a very different look to his game this year, probably with predominantly playing at the half back after spending a little bit of time there previously before going into the midfield.
Looks like Dawson again, just ran around and snapped that on his left foot. Just forced through by James Borlase. Ball coming back in now, going short. Who's that? Brodie Smith's got the ball in a bit of space. Oh, he's looking for Chris Burgess. Not much on. Goes to Cumming. Isaac Cumming. And a bit deeper in defence. Hasn't been called upon to do a whole lot so far. Looking for the experienced Taylor Walker one-on-one. Walker tried to use his body. Couldn't quite get himself free. Jordan Butts feeds the ball out, and that's a hack kick forward. Out of bounds on the full, I think you'll find. That might have been Toby Murray. So Laird looks ready to bring this ball back in. He's on the outer side, kicking with the wind, tries to centre the ball up. There's a big pack of players. And then it was Lockie Murphy who picks the ball up and tries for the left foot check side. I might have been better off going for the right footer. You don't see him use the right all that often, and it's out of bounds on the full. They bring it back in, the yellow team. Just had a lot of trouble, haven't they, trying to get it out of their own half. So they've kicked it long, that hasn't worked. They're now trying to work their way short. This is Zach Taylor. Haven't seen a lot of Zach Taylor. He goes short, finds another player out there. Can't quite pick up who that is. Sam Berry on the other side. He's got the shorter hairdo this year. Goes back to Taylor, trying to shift the blue defence. This is probably a wise thing. Can they find someone else? Zach Taylor looks back again and just looking for Billy Dowling. Spoilt there, but a great tackle. The blue team again. That's Laird.
Great impact from Mitch Hinge.
Yep.
And then Luke Pedler just comes in with the spoil.
Yeah.
So
oh, there's a
couple of collisions here.
Ooh. So that was a big bit of contact there. Not sure who that was, but in the end, there was a free kick in 50 metres. That's the third 50 this quarter. So, is this Isaac Cumming, I think? Maybe it was a bump to the head.
From Luke Pedler, yeah.
What he
Luke
said.
Pedler's already gone off and had a knock on his head, but maybe a bit of frustration coming from Luke Pedler.
The one thing we do know about Isaac Cumming, he's generally elite disposal, so kicks it really well, and that one there with the breeze had no trouble. And that's, I guess, what everyone is going to want to see from Isaac Cumming. He's the first round draft pick. He's in pick 16, I think he was originally. The big question mark has just been around his durability. He's had hamstring issues. Had a little niggle earlier on this year with Adelaide, but missed some footy last year, or the last couple of years with the Giants. So you'd think that if he can stay sound and keep playing cross half back, he's going to be very, very handy for Adelaide. So once again, just an indication of what he can do.
Yeah, it's exciting.
When you think about some of the ball users now across half-back, if you've got Miller and you've got Cumming, we know that Rory Laird is very neat by foot as well. Josh Worrell takes the game on, so it's starting to have a new dimension across that half-back line. Okay, is that Brodie Smith finds Harry Schomburg. Schomburg again. Taylor, he's had a little bit of a purple patch. He's probably had 4 or 5 touches in the last couple of minutes. As the siren blows, just as the yellow team are going into attack. So half-time, it's the Crows blue team, 14-6-90, leading the yellow team 1-5-11. Now we know the blue team are predominantly the first choice players, and the yellow team are made up of a number of top-up players as well, probably 6 top-up players. So probably not surprising that it's going to be one-sided. So Michael Annie-John, just Max, first of all, I can just see, welcome. You've got your thumb strapped up. Tell us what happened, mate.
Yeah, hey Vix, thanks for having me on. Unfortunately, about 5 minutes in, Toby Murray kicked me a bit of a grubber, which I tried to kind of smother, and it's hit the point of my finger and unfortunately dislocated my thumb.
Dislocated your thumb. So, first of all, was it painful? Did it hurt?
Well, I think I went into shock initially. So I looked down. It wasn't very pretty, so that was the last I saw of it. Didn't really want to look back down, and then had a few painkillers. So it hasn't been painful at all, which is nice.
Yeah, that's a good sign. That's a good start, I should say. But what does it mean? The first thing generally you say to the doctor is, "What does this mean?" And is it something that's going to restrict you from playing for a number of weeks, or is it wait and see, having maybe some scans to see if there's any damage done?
Yeah, it's definitely wait and see. I've got a scan tomorrow, but from what I've heard, it will come good pretty quick. And if this was a proper game like round 1, I'd definitely be out there still playing. So that's a good sign, and hopefully he'll heal up all right. Okay, yeah. For the non-footy people out there, it seems quite ridiculous that you could dislocate your thumb and you'd say if this was a game, you'd just pop it back in and then just get straight back out there. But yeah, we know footy players are pretty tough beasts. So actually before that, you're actually going quite well. I noticed you're up the ground a few times. You had a couple of inside 50 entries, so you would have been happy with the way you started as well. Yeah, thanks for that. It's very kind. Obviously going into this wind, I thought, I'd try and use the drive off half-back as much as I could. So it was good to get a nice start, and hopefully when I'm back playing, hopefully next week, I can carry that over to them. Okay, and so the blue team been pretty dominant. Just watching there, it looks like Ben Keys has just kicked the goal. Just give us a bit of an insight in terms of, you were out training every day and every night. Who were some of the players that you've seen take some giant steps forward this year in the pre-season? Yeah, there's been a few. Obviously, we've got a very dangerous forward line, and you would have heard a lot about Riley Thilthorpe, who's obviously looking dangerous again today. But I'm really liking how Neil Bullen's slid into the team. He brings a lot both on and off the field. So really enjoying how he's going. And then even from the yellow team, I'm really enjoying how Oscar Ryan's progressing. I think he's one to watch this year, along with big Toby Murray. So Oscar Ryan, he played across half-back last year. Will he push up to the wing? Where's he likely to play? I think half-back. He provides a lot of run, intercept, and it's actually very, very hard player to stand on. So, hopefully he gets his chance this year, and he'll make the most of it. Okay, you're happy to join me for 5 or so minutes, and we'll just watch a bit of footy. I might ask you some questions as we go through it. So, Riley O'Brien's had his hands full with Lockie McAndrew. Tell us about McAndrew. Has he impressed you? Yeah, he's very impressive. Obviously a big stature, he's a big boy. Obviously has the reach here as he gets the tap out there. So, it's bringing a lot of excitement. Keen to see how he goes this year. Yeah, Sid Draper there just backed out of the stoppage and just got his wheels moving again. Has he impressed you with his pre-season? Yeah, as you saw, he's very, very, mobile, very nippy. It's hard to get your hands on him. So when he gets the ball, his explosiveness is something that will hurt teams, and I'm sure we'll see that a lot this year as well. Yeah, Harry Schomburg's in the blue team. We know he had a wretched run with that Achilles injury. I know that I've been impressed with Harry because when he first came out to Adelaide, he wasn't probably the fittest guy, but he's got himself in really good shape. His pre-season, has he bounced back from the Achilles? Yeah, has he ever? One of the strengths of Harry Schomburg is that he's a really, really driven player and works very, very hard. and the way he's attacked his, I guess, rehab has been second to none. So it's credit to him, and he's playing really well at the moment, which is great to see.
Yeah, and I think probably the knock on Harry's been perhaps his ball use when he burst out of stoppage, but that time there he laced out Taylor Walker. Walker went forward. Looks like Riley Thilthorpe has got a free kick. He's going to line up for goal, and you mentioned he's had a good pre-season. He's kicked one already today, make that two. So what about him? You probably at different stages you have to get around him and try and defend him. Is it just the pure size that makes it so tough, or is it the athleticism that he has as well? You know, I'm guessing the size of him now. He's hard to move.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. Both of them really. Most people probably wouldn't know this, but he's up there with the fittest at the club at the moment. So even though he's a big boy and he's got the big muscles and he can push you around, he can also beat you on the ground as well, being really, really fit and really agile. So no, he's definitely a specimen, and keen to see how he goes this year.
Yeah, okay, so the Blues continue with this dominance. I guess so that they're up against the stiffer opposition now in the Yellows, but kicking with a 2 or 3 goal breeze. Tell us about the breeze. Is it difficult out there?
Yeah, it's pretty hard to tell from here, but while I was out there, there's definitely a big breeze going to your left of screen. But the main thing is, I guess, getting the drive off half back is something that we kind of look to do early, as this one's kind of getting held up in the wind as well.
Yeah, there's Jake Saligo. He's been pretty impressive there. Just good follow-up from Sam Berry. Broke 2 tackles. The third one was a bit much. Ran into Riley O'Brien. He said, not today. Well, wouldn't mind if Riley O'Brien might have handballed that one, but instead he's found his ex-skipper in Taylor Walker. Walker handballs the ball off, and unfortunately that's a turnover. Okay, thanks, Max, for joining us. We'll let you go, and we'll get Ebony back in here.
Thanks, Vic. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, there you go. Max Michaelini, young gun, just telling us that he's got a little bit of a sore thumb there with a dislocation, so doesn't seem to think that it's going to be too costly for him. Reckons he'd be playing there as the blue team pump it back in. Dan Curtin, just the ball drifts a bit long.
Josh Worrell takes a nice mark as well.
This will be a nice test for Curtin now. We'll go on to a bit stronger opponent in Worrell. Thilthorpe wins that ball there, goes forward, and there it is. We've said this all day.
Commentator's curse.
Yeah, well, he's read the ball really well off the boot, and that was a hack kick forward. And that's the beauty of having a big frame. If you're parked in front, and he just protected the drop of the ball really well there, turned his body, used that to protect where the ball was headed, took a chest mark, and he's going to line up for goal.
I think it's his third of the day if he slots this through.
Yes.
So 3 in the internal last week, and on his way for, if he kicks truly here.
Well, you put the mockers on him, and he's pushed it to the left.
How haven't I learnt?
Well, it's twice actually. Like we saw Sid Draper just try and nurse it through, and it looked like he tried to nurse that one through. Just had to kick through it.
I'm not sure if you asked Max Bix, but I asked him about the wind, and he said it's absolutely blowing a gale. So, for viewers back at home, it's blowing to the southern end. So I think we've seen a couple of boys just stab at that to curse through the wind.
Yep. So it's a long kick there. Big pack. A couple of the Yellows up. Couldn't quite bring it down. Looks like Oscar Ryan there, wrapped up. So a bit more even now around the footy. And that Riley O'Brien wins that one down, finds Matt Crouch, gives on the up to Alex Neil-Bullen on the left. Bit of a wrestle there. That looks like Ben Keys. Gets it out to Curtin. Curtin's a left footer, so he's on the right side for a left footer. That looked out of bounds from here. Cuts it back into the middle. Neil-Bullen nearly couldn't wrap it up. The umpire said that's holding the ball. And now Taylor Walker is going to be the recipient of the free kick. So just must have got a tackle on there. Incorrect disposal. And Walker will line up for his second.
Again, you can just see them trying to centre that ball, bring it inside the corridor instead of taking such a shot from the angle.
Let's see if the skipper can show the youngsters how to do it. Like I said, the howling breeze going to the left of screen. He runs to the right-hand post and literally kicks it over the umpire's hat. Hardly moved. So the Crows blue team now, 3-2-20 to the yellow team yet to score in this second half. So effectively start the new game, and it's the Crows' best forwards playing against the Crows' best defenders. So it's much stiffer opposition for the blue team, but they're still doing really well. The midfields are pretty evenly matched, so they've looked to match the midfields off. So for one team, we've got Riley O'Brien, James Peatling, who also got Sid Draper and Matt Crouch. And for the yellow team, we've got Lockie McAndrew, Jordan Dawson, Blake Drury, and Sam Berry. So yeah, maybe the blue team just a little bit stronger and maybe a bit more experienced, but still reasonably even. Let's see if the yellow team can push forward. They are kicking against a 3-goal breeze. Perfect bounce. O'Brien, beautiful tap. Gets back to an uncontested Matt Crouch. He puts it deep inside forward 50. Looks like Peatling he got on his bike. He was there in the centre square and then was at the fall of the ball at the 30-metre mark. So great running power. But unfortunately, the umpire said you took the ball, didn't try and get rid of it, and that's holding the ball. So the yellow team try and work their way through. Find Drury with a nice 30-metre pass. Drury, what can he do? Goes long. This will be a big pack. Big man fly. O'Brien gets it to the front as the ball was dropping into this breeze. Sam Berry contesting it. And that looks like it's gone out of bounds. So Eleni Gluftis doing the umpiring work. In actual fact, it's a baller. So she comes back in, throws the ball up in the air. Riley O'Brien again. So been a bit stiffer in this second quarter, O'Brien. Hasn't been pushed around by McAndrew as much as he was in the first half. Ball goes out of bounds. We'll get a look at it this time. Generally, Riley O'Brien does well at the boundary throw, and he comes a long way back. And then he races his man in and takes that front position and generally gets the tap out. So let's see what happens this time. Front position, loses at that time. McAndrew reaches over the top. It comes back to O'Brien, missed the kick. Adelaide get it through Peatling, a series of handballs. O'Brien dispossessed. Ball drops forward. Bit of a rugby scrum at the moment. Hard to call this one. That was Dawson, tried to handball it through. And then Curvis.
It's a little bit of Oscar Ryan in there with the quick feet.
Ryan gets it back. And that was Peatling. Couldn't find his leading forward. And it ends up in the hands of Mitch Hinge. Mitch Hinge goes long. What can the yellow forwards do? Can they find the mark? No, they can't. It's out of bounds. So the Crows shall be back this year, Sunday mornings, 11 a.m, all throughout the season on Channel 7. Don't miss that. Ebony Marinoff starring on that show. As the Crows yellows go along, but James Ball-Ace gets back, takes a nice mark, then spreads the ball, finds Chase Jones. Goes long, looking for Taylor Walker. Nick Murray leads him to the ball, but the ball just bounces and goes out of bounds. Crows Live was another new feature last year, so it's after home games. It'll be back again this season. We'll get interviews. We'll go down into the Adelaide change rooms after games, so don't miss that. As the ball comes back in, Chase Jones gets his hands on it. As we've got another ball up.
Looks like Luke Pedlar's done for the day. He's just going down to the room, so...
Okay, so he got a knock in the first quarter, came back, played the second. Maybe they've said that's enough for him. A soccer attempt at goal there. Just missed. That might have been Ben Keys.
Like you said, almost a little bit more messy with the best defenders going down on the best forwards. So a little bit more high pressure and...
well, Mark Keane just scissored one through the ground.
Saw a few of them last year, didn't we?
Yeah, he doesn't mind having a go. They don't always work. And there's Jake Saligo. That went about 11 metres. Finds Wayne Miller, and Miller comes out looking for Billy Dowling. But yeah, good defence, Chase Jones. So once again, I think the teams have found it really difficult against the breeze to get it out of their back half. So I guess that says a little bit about the way the defensive structure of the Crows is set up. That's a good sign, because it wasn't always the way last year. They did leak a lot of inside 50s last year. So good sign so far. What about that take from James Peatling? Unlucky not to get a free kick. That's a little bit high.
An umpire on the inside of that, but that's just his explosiveness from the quick feet at stoppages that James Peatling's going to bring to this team this year.
Yeah, got on the move and just took it one hand. As Phil thought there, just tried to bang it forward. So let's have a look here again. What do we got? Who'll get on the move this time? Philthorpe wins that. Chase Jones tried to be an outlet for him. Couldn't get it out to him. Was bobbling around there. Quick kick forward. Oh, that's nice work. That's Jordan Butts. Oh, the umpire not happy. And that's Tyler Welsh. Tyler Welsh was the recipient of a 50-metre penalty in the second quarter, and he gives one away there, and he's looks a little bit confused. I'm not sure he realises why that was given. I must say I'm a little bit confused as well. He's asking Toby Murray and Chris Burgess, what's that all about?
So I think what happened was Chris Burgess was actually on the mark, but then gave it to Tyler Welsh. But then Tyler Welsh, a little mixed communication. But on the Riley Thilthorpe, we've seen Riley O'Brien not do too much rucking this quarter. It's going to be interesting to see how much time Riley Thilthorpe actually spends in the ruck. He's done a lot more this pre-season, and when you speak about the likes of Dan Curtin playing a little bit more of a higher hybrid, tall marking key forward role, does Riley Thilthorpe spend more time in the ruck?
Yeah, well, if you're asking me, I would say no. I'd say let's see Riley Thilthorpe as a 65-goal forward and just playing forward. As the yellow team, nice kick out, bit of movement through there, and they're out behind. And Toby Murray, he went for the pass, but unfortunately, the young man, one of the top-up players, I'll just bring his name up, and that was Kyan Smith. Just spent it, just took his eye off the ball. He went to mark it, and that would have been a shot on goal for the Yellows. So it's a stoppage inside forward 50. But it is interesting. He can play in the ruck, and I don't mind him going into the ruck if he hasn't seen much of it in the forward half. It enables him to get into the game. So sometimes you get bogged down, or you've got a good opponent, or the ball was an inside 50. He definitely has the ability. But if Adelaide are getting plenty of entries and got it in their front half, I'd love to see him as that number one target inside forward 50 as often as possible. So it will be interesting to watch, so we'll keep an eye on it. Now, Thilthorpe there, got down to Alex Neil-Bullen. Brodie Smith there, just tried to get around one too many and then was wrapped up. This is Blake Drury. As we said, he's the marquee player for the Crows Sample side. So this is a new rule that's been introduced to the Sample. Goes short, finds Saligo. Well, we wondered whether Dan Curtin would get the journey. He kicked one from about 2 or 3 metres closer in the first quarter. Saligo doesn't kick over the mark. He kicks it to the side, sits it up to the top of the goal square. Thilthorpe pushes it back to the top of the square, and it's a great take by Billy Dowling, and then threw it on his boot and hit that absolutely sweetly. Got it to bend beautifully for him, and that's a really nice goal.
Well, that's just a great kick from Jake Saligo in terms of understanding the breeze and the wind. Just put it on the angle of the square, and Billy Dowling able to cleanly pick that up, and a lovely snap, which the Port Pirie community crowd loved.
Yeah, they did. And like what you're saying, Ebony, is if Jake Saligo goes back and says, you know what, I might be able to make the distance, and he lands at 1 metre out, Riley Thilthorpe punches that straight through. When it lands 8 or 9 metres out, Thilthorpe, he's worried about trying to punch it back towards goal, so he punches it forward, back into play, and that's where Billy Dowling was. So great footy IQ by Jake Saligo, and a good spot by Billy Dowling to win it and then get it to his boot quickly and kick a really nice goal. So we're back in the middle, and much more even quarter of footy. So we said it's about a 3-goal breeze, and right now the Yellows have got 1 and the Blues have got 3, so maybe ahead of the ledger. A nullifying contest in the middle. Toby Murray to Drury to Saligo. Saligo goes deep. Looks like Burgess is the player they're aiming for. Couldn't quite get a hand on it. Butters up again. He's over the footies. We try and knock it out. Butts did well to get it out. It goes back to Zach Taylor. Ball bobbling around again. Saligo still involved in there, and he's going to wrap it up, it looks like now, for the yellow team. And they've done well. They've forced a stoppage inside forward 50.
Saligo in the yellow team just taking on everyone.
Yeah. Dawson ended up in the ruck there, not quite sure about that. Harry Schomburg wins it, runs, kicks it to Rochelle, who was just heralded in the contest, so he goes back.
It's a good matchup for Hugh Bond, against Josh Rochelle, one of the better small forwards of the competition.
Oh boy, that was a big kick to go across the ground like that. It hung in the air, They got away with it. The ball comes out to Nankervis, and Luke Nankervis on the run kicks it beautifully. So it's always high risk, high reward, those kicks across the middle. Generally, you're not looking to kick it 45 to 50 metres. Because you do that, it hangs in the air for a long time. Fortunately for the blue team, they were able to keep it in the area. I think it might have been a free kick, but the ball bounced free and ended up in the hands of Luke Nankervis. And that's why I thought he was a bit unlucky not to be in that first choice side in the first half, because I quite liked the way he developed last year for Adelaide across half back.
Sublime skills, and he's got a little bit of dash about him. He's quite brave. We saw him take on some, he had some amazing moments last season, but you almost sense that Isaac coming into that wing role, puts pressure. And then Chase Jones must have impressed earlier in the pre-season, finding himself in that blue team in the first half. Yeah,
he's got great flexibility as well, because he's good size. He's I think he's around 191 centimetres, so he's got the ability to play a bit taller in defence if you need him to. Toby Murray made good position, but Riley O'Brien soccers it off the ground. Wayne Miller just wins the ball ahead of Lockie Murphy. It goes to Hugh Bond, to Mitch Hinge, and ends up finding, is that Tyler Welsh? Goes back to Hinge. Hinge was going to play on. The umpire calls him to go. Turns onto that left foot. Haven't seen a lot of Hinge today, but he puts it out in front of Burgess, and that's a nice mark in front of Butts. He winds it up into the top of the square. Well, there's Tyler Welsh. So it wasn't him earlier up the ground. And it looks like a pick up and snap from Toby Murray. Yep. So the ruckman was pushing down there. Didn't feature in the marking contest, but I'll tell you what he did do is he picked the ball up on the ground. That was actually Jordan Dawson on the wing, not Tyler Welsh. Tyler Welsh flew in the goal square and brought it to ground.
But a couple of nice left foot kicks from Mitch Hinge. We haven't really spoken about him earlier this game, but a little bit more consistent last year, I thought, but haven't heard a lot of him coming through the pre-season. But when his execution is at a high level, he looks good. But
that's probably the challenge for Mitch, because he takes the game on. We love it when he goes to the middle of the ground. Once again, he's a good size as well, so he can rebound. He's got some aerial, but just there were times last year that there's one turnover a game sometime, or often, where it just turned the ball over in a position that was really difficult to defend. So tidy that up, and we know he's a great player, and he's got so much heart as well. But there you go, Harry Schomburg's had a good quarter. I reckon he's had 2 or 3 clearances as he goes to Charlie Edwards off half back. A little bit of an indiscriminate kick forward, so didn't really get much advantage from that handball as the yellow team just moved the ball out of their own defence. Wayne Miller goes to Dowling. Dowling back to Miller. The umpire says that's not 15. Play on. The quick feed of Miller. We're going to get used to seeing that hopefully this year. Oh, Billy Dowling just misjudged that. Got a finger on it, so it won't be out on the full. What about Tyler Welsh? Have you seen much of him on the training track, Ebony? And what's your expectations this year?
Oh, unfortunately, I haven't, to be honest. I think he spent a lot of the early part of the pre-seasons trying to get that tank and ease him into, I guess, AFL life. Spent a lot of time on the bike, but I'm sure we all know he's got talent, but it's his ability to stay in games and work up and down the ground. As we can see, we've got James Borley standing him, so, he's probably got 15, 20 games of AFL experience, but a 2-year contract, so hopefully he dives into AFL life and the lifestyle to just kind of get his fitness up, because I think that's probably something that's lacking at the moment. We've seen a few times today he's just trying to use his body instead of leading up at the football. Yeah, that's right, and played the under-18s. His big frame probably enables him to be able to move some of those bodies, but a lot harder at this level. But what we saw, particularly in that showdown in the SANFL when he kicked 5 goals, to do that as an 18-year-old at SANFL level just shows the immense talent that he has. It's just, like you said, getting the tank and the durability to be able to execute that every week. As we see Adelaide go forward, and Curtin gave a handball out to set up Charlie Edwards. He got met right up the middle. Nothing too untoward there. Knocked him off his feet, but... I tell you what, Harry Schonberg today's impressed in some
he
parts.
has.
He's looking really trim and fit. He almost sense that it's a ball about to explode, but...
it's a big year for him, out of contract at the end of this year, and found himself through injury and form before that out of the side, so he really needs to make every post a winner. Taylor Walker involved in that contest.
tackling up the Irish and Carl Gallagher, his second year as a Crow. Experience of Taylor just to wrap that ball inside and get the free kick. He's also kicked it from about, you might sell 70 metres.
So that one there, I'm sure he was going for Riley Thilthorpe. Nick Murray moved him out of the contest, so Thilthorpe didn't touch it, but the ball bounced at the top of the goal square and then took an off break and just bounced through nicely for Taylor Walker. So he's got 3, I would think, on the afternoon. He's got 2 in this quarter. The Crows have kicked, this is the blue team, the Crows blue team have kicked 5 in the third. The yellow have got 2, so pretty evenly matched when you think probably a 3-goal breeze at this stage. Okay, so as you said, a bit more of an even quarter this quarter. Just looking at some of the matchups, it's the first choice Crows forwards playing on the first choice defenders. So Darcy Fogarty against Josh Worrell. You've got Mark Keane on Taylor Walker, Miller on Rochelle. Dan Curtin's being picked up by Mitch Hinge. So some really nice matchups. Nick Murray has got Riley Thilthorpe. And Rory Laird is on Lockie Murphy. So the umpire recalls that bounce. We'll throw it up this time. Riley O'Brien comes across the line, uses his body, finds Matt Crouch. He was able to beat one, but then was wrapped up by Blake Drury. So it's a ball up again. Both ruckmen engage. So that time, Lockie McAndrew reached over the shoulder. Oh, no, another 50. I reckon that's 5 50-metre penalties today.
There's been a few today, hasn't there? A bit of undiscipline within the boys.
I think there's been probably 3 of them that have been a little bit of a misunderstanding in regards to the stand rule, and they're a bit rusty. I reckon that one might have been a little bit of back chat. I'm not sure Lockie McAndrew was all that happy with the call from the umpire. Well, the umpire said, don't do that. I'll give you a 50-metre penalty. So Riley O'Brien with the unique run-up that he has in goal-kicking routine. Let's have a look at it. That ball is spinning very quickly, but it's spinning straight, which is great for Riley O'Brien. He's been much more effective in this second half because I thought McAndrew was well on top in the first half. I must say, with his greater reach, he really troubled Riley O'Brien. But the one thing we know about O'Brien is he is a competitor.
Absolutely, and his ability to cover the ground. He's one of the best runners at the football club, so he certainly can do it all in around the ground. You know, we forget last year he was dropped back into the sample. Kieran Strawn was given AFL opportunity for consecutive games, and I thought when Riley O'Brien did come back into the AFL, he certainly was a much better player, and you know, just that sense of authority across the ground as a ruckman. It's so important in this day and age in AFL.
Okay, Sid Draper. He's in there now opposed to Jordan Dawson in the centre square. And he gets the nice little tap from Riley O'Brien on the move, gets a quick kick forward. That's interesting because Sid Draper and Tyler Welsh at one stage were living with Jordan Dawson. So I wonder if they're having a discussion about maybe Sid cleaning his room. I'm not sure. But there we go. Another free kick. And they play on. It goes to Sid Draper. Draper finds Rochelle with a short pass. Thilthorpe was on the move, but Rochelle now says, no, I'm going long. I'm going to Taylor Walker. Walker spoiled. Yeah, I reckon Thilthorpe probably deserved that ball to go to him. He'd given a good lead. The yellow clear. Welsh wins it, and the siren blows at three-quarter time. And I guess now the fact that they have just over 4-goal advantage with that, it's probably a 3 or 4 goal breeze, so a bit more evenly poised. And we won't really know until we see what happens in this next quarter. They kicked with about a 3 or 4 goal breeze that quarter. They kicked 6-2, so it's pretty even. It's interesting now they're going to be going against the breeze. Will the yellow team, which is the with the Crows' first choice defenders, will they be able to match that as the ball goes up? Lockie McAndrew, who's been quite impressive today, gets the ball down to Saliga. Saliga hands the ball off to Jordan Dawson. Jordan Dawson goes long, puts pressure on the goal front. Toby Murray is there. Wins the ball on the ground. He did that really well and did everything but kick it, or has he? The umpire made a lot of ground, but he goes back to the middle of the goals and kicks it. So he said there was a 3 or 4 goal breeze, and within 31 seconds they've been able to kick a goal in this third quarter.
And that's just impressive. Oh, you talk about the likes of Jordan Dawson, and he's come, you know, a dual BNF at the Adelaide Crows as captain, but it's the youngster and Jake Saligo who's just going to excel. If he didn't already have a breakout year last year, he's certainly going to have one this year. Massive fan, just be able to shrug off an experienced player in Matt Crouch out of the centre, and just goes to show when it's 6v6 and you get a really good centre clearance, much easier to score.
Yeah, every time Adelaide have come out of that centre square as well, they've gone long and direct. They've tried to get it within that 30-metre zone, haven't they? So put pressure on the opposition. And you're right. I think Saligo did have a breakout year last year, and he's going to go on to bigger and better things this year, hopefully, for Adelaide. And got the potential to be an A-grader. There's no doubt about that through the midfield. And if you think Sid Draper certainly has that potential, Isaac Rankin has the potential to be an A-grade mid if he's not there already, and we know Jordan Dawson's done some really good things. So excellent work there by Schomburg. Rochelle gives away a free kick. And
just curious to remember, Jake Saligo picked up in, pick number 36. So not really a first-round draft pick, but certainly showing signs of one.
Oh, absolutely. And I think he was, if I can remember rightly, Adelaide couldn't believe their luck when he was still there. They had him rated much higher than that. So as Sam Berry gets the ball, he's looking for Chris Burgess. Brodie Smith worked back. He's that extra back there. Did it very well. Oh, it was a little bit of a risky kick. Charlie Edwards can't complete the mark, and the yellow team have created a stoppage. So, I should say, the yellow team hold it inside their forward 50. So the Adelaide Crows have been in Port Pirie the last 48 hours, been doing lots of great stuff down here, been really well received by the community, as it always is in the regional centres, as the yellow team try to get a quick snap on goal. Couldn't quite complete that. It looks like another stoppage. So it's been hard work for most of the day for the Yellows, but they're just building a bit of pressure here. We'll see if some of the small forwards can get on the move. Sam Berry's down there. Carl Gallagher tries to get his hands on it. Couldn't quite pick it up cleanly. I wondered whether that was over the shoulder. That's what my first instinct was, and Eleni Gluftis agreed, and it looks like a free kick going to
Ned. He's one of the top-ups.
Ned Atkinson.
Yeah, he's been training with the AFL over the last couple of weeks, just with an extra numbers in the internal trials. And
he's also going to play in the Sandford this year. Of course, his dad, Brodie, a Magarey medalist, also a Crows listed player, played for Adelaide a handful of games in the 90s, also was on St Kilda's list and played footy for St Kilda a little bit. Sacred Heart boy, and he kicks a goal today. So we said this might be a bit closer with that breeze blowing fairly strongly to the left of screen. And pretty quickly, the yellow team have put 2 goals on the board. So just approaching 4 minutes. Quarter's been going for roughly 26, 27 minutes. So this could be a close contest. So what we're seeing is the Yellows get a couple of balls out of the centre square. And so Berry, Saligo and Dawson roving to Lockie McAndrew. And on the other side, it's Riley O'Brien trying to work it down to Josh Rochelle. We've got Matt Crouch and also Harry Schomburg. So Rochelle getting a run through the middle.
It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, will they do that throughout the year?
we both thought the same thing there.
On the same page.
I think it's really quite hard to tell, because Isaac Rankin has played predominantly 90% of the time in the midfield throughout the pre-season. So with him missing today, it's a little, hard for us to tell. But with an internal, official trial game next week against Port Adelaide, we'll be able to see more.
So Ben Keys there looking for a teammate up forward. Not a lot on. That's a quick kick forward there just to get it out in space. Chris Burgess leads the race. Tyler Welsh there also. And just created a stoppage there. So good work by Brodie Smith. He was against 2 players there. Was able to hold that up. So the ruckman again. McAndrew, O'Brien. O'Brien that time gets it out towards Schomburg. Schomburg wins it. Gets his hands free. Can't find Rochelle. And it's good work by Cook. Cook finds Berry under pressure. Laird, oh no, he's turned that over. Giving it Oh, to Chase Jones. Jones went to Walker, but Walker just turned the ball over. It looks like it's going to be holding the ball. No. Thought he might have been lying on top of it. So first of all, it was a turnover by Laird, which he wouldn't have been happy with, and then the favour was returned by Chase Jones and Taylor Walker. Berry again wins it. Dowling, Bond, Miller just evades, as we know he can do, but kicks it blind, kicks a little bit blindly, and it looks like Jordan Butts is going to be the recipient here. He's got a bit of space, but he's happy, as most defenders are, just to chauffeur that ball across the boundary line. Where's Jordan Butts at the moment? Is he in Adelaide's best 23?
I don't think so, and I think I touched on it earlier. He's coming off a foot surgery, so he wasn't out on the track until post-Christmas, so missed a fair chunk of the pre-season. Wasn't at his best last year late in the season. James Borlase played a little bit more. With Rory Laird moving to the half-back and Wayne Malera Jr. coming back into the side after a year out with injury, it's certainly going to be hard.
Yeah, well, we mentioned that Luke Pedler went off during the third quarter. He got a knock in the first quarter and then came back out there, played a little bit in the second, then he went off again in the third, and he's done for the afternoon. We're just hearing that he might have a perforated eardrum, which sounds like a nasty injury. So we'll keep you updated on that as Sid Draper takes the ball and just runs out of traffic. We love seeing that. Finds Cumming. Cumming looks for his former GWS teammate.
It made him work for that.
Yeah, it did make him work for it. The kick was...
We've certainly seen a glimpse of Sid Draper today of why
no doubt.
Everyone is so excited, and was eased into the pre-season, and there's question marks, was he ready? But I think they've probably just got it just right, and he's has excelled over the last two weeks in the internal trial, and certainly showed promise today.
Yeah, Peatling again, that's a clever handball. Finds Curtin and Neil Bullen. Walker, what about that? Now he's Lairising, goes back to Chase Jones, and they end up with the goal. Taylor Walker could have kicked it himself, but he's the king of the goal assist. But it was really nice work. I think James Peatling was the one there. Won the ball, and then it was rather cleverly. It's like a bounce pass in basketball. He handballed into the ground to go underneath the yellow defender's reaching arms, and it ended with Dan Curtin. And that started a series of handballs, and the yellow, or the blue team, I should say, get a little bit of breathing space, kicking a goal against the Breeze. If you want to get a game day ready with the Adelaide Crows official home and clash kits, you need to do it very quickly because they are on sale right now. Do not miss out. You can grab yours today and show your true colours, available in-store and online at shopafc.com.au. Of course, the new logo. Everyone needs to update the gear. I see you're wearing it today, Ebony. Got all the new kit on.
Putting me on the screen so I can model the new logo. But, Biggs, thoughts on the new logo? I think everyone's loving it.
Oh, I do. I like it. It's got a bit of a retro feel about it.
Yep.
And being retro myself from another era, I like it. So a big tackle there in the middle of the ground. That's Zach Taylor. He's fighting for his spot. Takes Josh Rochelle down. McAndrew wins the tap. Gets it to...
Sam Berry. Harry
Berry.
Schomburg,
Yeah, Berry.
Harry Schomburg v. Sam Berry. They've both got... buzz cuts, they're telling me.
Yeah, they're both solid characters as well. Ball gets knocked out, bit of a scramble on now. Looks like Peatling over the footy.
On the ball?
No, the umpire says. Couldn't get it out. Ball goes up quickly. Oh, a beautiful tap by McAndrew again. He's been impressive tonight, or this afternoon. Ball gets fed back to Laird. Laird goes forward, but it's straight into the waiting arms of the blue defence.
Jordan
Butts. Goes short, conservatively by foot. That's probably another area for Jordan Butts if he is going to really develop. Just needs a bit more certainty and surety with his foot skills. It's a long kick forward. That ball really being affected by the wind. And Nick Murray couldn't
very high up the ground.
Yeah, he couldn't quite get there to mark it, but he was able to make sure that no one from the blue team got it and got it over the boundary line. So the yellow team have done pretty well in defence. Really haven't been all that dominant, the blue forwards, and there's some quality up there. Rory O'Brien wins that tap, tries to get it down to his on-ballers, can't do it. Shoveled out by Peatling. Draper ends up with it, chain of handballs. Rochelle, they're all the way back in their defensive 50 now. Butts with his hands on the footy with the kick, and that's what we're talking about. You feed it back and you get it into the hands of a player, and that player was Jordan Butts, and he's had some breathing space and then wasn't able to use it and find a teammate by foot. So Billy Dowling now goes long, tries to use the breeze as best he can. Who's he looking for down? That's a strong mark. Toby Murray, it looks like, had a big piece of that. And he gets up. And I think that
He's had a little whisper told me that maybe we might see Toby Murray play some AFL footy this year. So some big raps on his pre-season, and his due diligence to kind of, if you're looking over at him, he's put on some size, he's gotten a lot fitter, he's made impact. So I think we saw Nick Murray come through the ranks, come off the farm mid-season,
yep.
and now one of the more premium, key, solid defenders. And Toby Murray's shown some promising signs. I think he's probably on shot for his third or fourth goal.
Well,
and I've done the commentator's
I reckon he's probably had 4 shots. I think he's probably got 2. But he's 202 centimetres, and when you can clunk a ball like that at that height, that makes you a very nice prospect. I saw him in round 1 last year in the Sanford. He kicked 4 goals against South Adelaide and was very impressive that day. Probably didn't do it often enough and consistently enough for the rest of the season in the sample, but clearly did enough to impress the coaches because he was taken in the mid-season draft. And like I said, another pre-season. It looks like he's got some size, and you train every day for the last 18 months like he's done, and there's no doubt you're going to improve. So he's still a young man, got a fair bit of upside. So Phil Thorpe in the ruck, he gets that down. Sam Berry wins the ball nicely. Good strength. And that one there, he goes for his Murray again. Doesn't find him, just worked out of it by, who is that? Is it
James Borlace.
Borlace down there, we just worked him under it. Murray looked back at Berry as if to say, give me a chance at it. I reckon I had him outsized.
That's that long, that long kick that's kind of hurt the yellow team more often than not today.
And there's Nick Murray, takes a mark and goes back, and he's almost kicked it straight back to James Borlace.
He has been.
And he's marked it. That's a good mark by Borlace, and oh gee whiz, he goes with a tumbler. That's a horrible kick. It's gone 30 metres. It's still in a very dangerous position. So I'm not sure what happened there, whether Borlace was called to play on. He looked to have rushed that a little bit, and he kicked an absolute pie. And it's a ball up now right on the 50-metre line. Phil Thorpe wins it. Beautiful work. Gets it out to Draper. Wow. Draper on the move. Runs, carries, kicks it long. He's looking for Walker, but Mark Keane out-positioned him. Walker gave him a little bit to go on with.
Another 50.
Oh, Keane says, how about 50? And the umpire agreed with him. I reckon that was a speculative question to the umpire, but the umpire said, yeah, I'm happy to go with you. Keane now plays on, finds Taylor. Taylor's got Worrell on the other side of the ground. He's screaming for it. He might be a bit far away.
And a bit windy, I reckon.
Yep.
Hey, Bix, we're bringing this game to Port Pirie. You're a local. How important it is to, I guess, the boys have spent the last couple of days at communities, going into schools. How important it is when AFL clubs go to their communities? Yeah,
look, getting out in the regional areas is just, it's such a highlight for the regions because, they don't have the opportunity to see this level of competition very often, and obviously you don't get a chance to see some of your heroes like up close and personal. So, like when you come out here, it can often just plant a seed in the hearts and minds of the younger people, and and hopefully really entrench them not only as Crows fans but also as fans of the game. And the regions have struggled in recent times in trying to keep the youth within there and keep the footy teams alive. So any chance you get to inspire the youngsters to stay involved in our game, I think is well worthwhile.
Got the cars parked around the oval, as you can see on the live stream.
Yeah, a few horns tooting as they score some goals. Got the wheat silos in the background. It's quite a picturesque oval. You gonna ask me if I ever played here, Ebony?
Isn't this a new oval?
No, it's the Memorial Oval. It's been around for 100 years.
Oh, there you go.
It's been upgraded.
Upgraded since you've been here.
Anyway, Tyler Welsh tries to keep it in, but can't do that. But it's certainly been worthwhile for Adelaide. We've seen a number of players impress, and this is a nice hit out before it gets a little bit more serious next week. So Adelaide will go to Mount Barker and play the power. We heard Adam Kelly say that'll be 6 quarters as Toby Murray takes it out of the ruck. Wasn't able to get it onto his boot as the Crows threw Matt Crouch clear. And the yellow team did well to force a stoppage there, and they'll maintain it in their forward 50. So, yeah, 6 quarters next week at
Mount Barker.
Mount Barker. I think it's called the Summit Oval, and it'll be the first 3 quarters will be the A graders, and then it will be a bit more of the depth players in the second 3 quarters. The ball, boundary throw was a bit short, nearly landed on Matt Crouch's head, as there was a big tackle there from Draper, and he might have earned himself a free kick, and he has. So Jake Saliga not all that happy with that, but the 2 young guns going head to head. So there's that long kick forward, and once again,
Andrew, you showed some signs.
well, I'll tell you what.
Did we get a lowdown from Adam Kelly? What's
So basically, the supplementary list closes as the yellow team get an opportunity, but it just hits the post. That was Braden Cook, I think it was. The supplementary list or the lodging closes next week, so unless there's a long-term injury or someone drops off the list, that the Crows don't have a list spot. He is eligible to play with the Crows sample team, as Dan Curtin just drops one he would have liked to have taken. But if Strawn comes back in, you really think there's probably only one spot for that beanpole style ruckman in the sandful. So I just wonder, I had heard some whispers that he may be
more long-term
or
than
loaned out to another sandful club, and maybe if Adelaide, if anything were to happen throughout the season, he may be eligible in the mid-season draft. But
of course, because Norwood's lost their ruck in the Gary medalist to St Kilda.
Yeah, that's it. So all speculative, of course, but I'll tell you what, he hasn't done his chances any harm. I'm sure there's a lot of AFL clubs that are looking at ruckman, if they were, would have noticed some of his work today, as there's a kick by Keane, misses the mark. Cook, as he often does, looks quite spectacular in the way he goes about it, gets it to Zach Taylor. Taylor goes to Dawson. He's been a little bit quieter in the second half. And now it's just Ned Atkinson again. He's got a very similar gait to his dad. Anyone that knows Brodie will see that he looks very similar in the way that he moves. Kicked a goal earlier in this quarter. I think he might have kicked the first goal for the quarter. Can he go again? As I said, he was a Sacred Heart scholar last year, played in the under-18s, or was involved in the under-18s setup, the state setup, and now finds himself vying for a spot in the Crows sample side. Tell you what, he's come off the boot beautifully. He's covered the turf, but
Nick the post.
Just to the left of the big upright. I'll tell you what, the one thing that has changed since I played here, which was about 30 years ago, is the goalposts are about 3 times the height.
They're quite tall. When you look, what's that over there, Bix?
That's the giant stack.
Oh, there you go.
From the lead smelter. Biggest lead smelter in the Southern Hemisphere, in case you're wondering.
All fans back at home.
As the yellow team take a mark, Nick Andrew, and they come back in, and they've found a target inside forward 50. Can't quite pick up who that is. This looks like Blake Drury. We've mentioned him a few times. Hasn't looked out of place. He's on North Melbourne's list. He's now going to find himself as the marquee player for the Adelaide Crows. That's one of the concessions the Sample have made to the 2 AFL clubs this year. They can have a marquee player. And he's an in and under type. We heard Adam Kelly talk about him. He's training with the Crows seniors for the pre-season. It's been really impressive.
Oscar Ryan on kick-out duties.
Yeah, and he's got a beautiful leg. Wonder if we'll see him get some opportunities this year. I think he might have been last year the only player on Adelaide's list that didn't play a game, something like that. It's not my stat. I heard someone else mention that. I hope they're right, because I've repeated it. But Adelaide
certainly
again,
got some speed about him.
He's got a beautiful leg. He weights the ball really well when he kicks, which is an art. And there's Isaac Cumming, who he's weighted that ball beautifully. Just kick that to advantage. Darcy Fogarty wins the ball, gets it to Matt Crouch. Is he going to move it on quickly? He goes short, misses the target. He was looking for Ben Keys, kicked it over his head. And now the yellow team go back the other way. Oh, Oscar Ryan's going to earn himself, or is it Isaac Cumming? I'll tell you what, that ball was over the back. The yellow team were away. He was on the ground coming. Oh, I'll tell you what, now he's run through the mark.
850th for the day? Or?
Yeah, I reckon there's about maybe 6 or 7 or 8. And that was Braden Cook, who was unaware of his surroundings, just jogged through the mark. Now, this is against the breeze. Cummings going to put this pretty close. He'll probably get it to the top of the square. Phil Thorpe and Riley O'Brien are both deep in the goal square. We'll see what this looks like. Just sits it up. Phil Thorpe gets a jump at it, doesn't get hands on it. The ball comes to ground. Oh, nice take by Murray. Handball was a miss, though. Didn't quite find the plan he was after. Saligo gets the ball back, wrapped up. Thought that was high. That's a lovely snap, but it didn't quite get the journey. Who was that? Was that Schomburg or Peatling that snapped that? One of the two players. I didn't see, but I was interested in Jake Saligo. I thought he copped one high, but the umpire wasn't paying that. As Dawson goes long, Murray gets hands to it, then wraps up Curtin. Curtin gets his arms free. Oh, I tell you what, that's close to holding the ball as well. Alex Neil-Bullen was wrapped up by Rory Ladd. Tyler Welsh couldn't keep it in. And so we're going to get a throw in on the half-forward line for the blue team for the Crows. Riley O'Brien up against Toby Murray. O'Brien in front, grabs the ball out of the ruck, tackled by Zach Taylor. Ball comes free. Draper with quick hands gets it out to Matt Crouch. Matt Crouch swings onto his left foot, puts it into a dangerous area. The ball gets out the back. Oh, Darcy Fogarty maybe manhandled, yes, as the blue team and Ben Keys were about to run into an open goal, but Braden Cook was taken down without the footy. Eleni Gluftus, umpiring here, said that is correct. Paid the free kick, and Adelaide's yellow team have methodically moved it through Laird and now Keane to the half-back flank. Atkinson, he's worked his way into this game in this last quarter. Neat kick. Finds another one of the top-up players. This time it's Kyan Smith. And another 50-metre penalty. I'm not sure whether it's the players or the umpires that are a little bit rusty with this rule.
And no crowd, really. Too much, you know, we don't have 50,000 at a Oval complaining he can't hear the umpire.
Yeah, that's it. As the yellow team get a snap on goal. And they like it. I'm not sure who it is. Who is that? That is Carl Gallagher. Got the Irishman there. I reckon he might have kicked out in his left foot. Isn't it quite remarkable? He's over here probably just over 12 months ago. Didn't know anything about footy. And now he's taking the ball, turning onto his non-preferred and snapping it through. So that's a lovely bit of work from Gallagher. We just saw glimpses of his power and his athleticism throughout the SANFL season last year. Hopefully we'll start to see that develop a bit more in the coming season as he's now a bit more aware of his surroundings and the rules and the nuance of playing a totally new sport at professional level.
It is miraculous how some of the Irish can just come in and impact. We've got 4 Irishes coming into our program this year, and hopefully they can all become like Niamh Kelly. But like you said and touched on, it's a whole different ball game, and the rules and the umpiring is completely different. Significant changes to the way they play as well. So it definitely does take time to adjust.
Well, hasn't Niamh Kelly been a star though? Like her athleticism, the power she has, and it's just been such a bonus. And that's pretty much what they pick them on, is they see what they can do in terms of their running power and speed. And yeah, let's hope that the rest of it can come. Oh, a little nice bit of work there. Sidestep, but just missed with the handball there. Crows still trying to work their way through it. Gets it back. As the ball gets pumped forward deep. I was trying to work out who there was. It was Charlie Edwards. I couldn't quite pick up which player it was. But Edwards sidestepped 2 players, fluffed the handball, continued to stay in the play, kept going, got the handball back, then kicked it to a really dangerous area, and there's an infringement there against Taylor Walker. I reckon he's got 3 today. This will probably be 4. And the veteran
You talk about the return of Riley.
I think he's in his 17th season, Taylor Walker. It's quite remarkable, isn't it?
The return of Riley Thilthorpe and Darcy Fogarty keeping 40-plus goals. Taylor Walker, All-Australian the previous year upon last. He's coming into like uncontra. What does it look like him? You almost sense he wants to get to that 300. Is he man it?
Yeah, look, it's going to be interesting because I think the plan will be with Taylor Walker. What I've observed over Taylor Walker, when he's fit and in good shape, he is just such a great player. But what happens, later on in his career, often after 9, 10, 11 games, he gets sore, plays a very tough position. I think that I'd be surprised if they didn't manage him, a little bit this year. So 6 or 7 games, and particularly when you've got, greater depth, then they'll be able to work that around the bye and the travel schedule and all of that. And I think if they're able to keep him fresh, the skill set that he has, I think he's still got plenty to offer, and by no means does this have to be his last season. As Rochelle almost takes it off his bootlaces, that looks like a free kick to Miller. And he's going to be like a new recruit as well. Yeah. Wayne Miller has played so little football in the past 3 or 4 years. Had that patella tendon injury, which has just robbed Adelaide of the skills of him at cross half back. Look at that. That weighted kick finds Dowling, centimetre perfect. Dowling looking inside. The blue defensive setup is almost perfect. So they force him to kick long down the line. That's exactly what Adelaide want. Big spoil here, get some numbers around it. Matt Crouch wins the footy. And they'll get a ball up. So they turn the ball over just on the defensive side of their wing. Drury, nice take, one-handed. Just flips the ball out. Peatling now looks for Thilthorpe. Keeps it in front. Jeez, he's got some extension, hasn't he, Thilthorpe? There's Matt Crouch trying to keep it in. Yeah. Matt Crouch just got that shoulder. Got a stinger, I reckon, on that. As you can see him try and shake that off.
12 seconds to go in the game. It's one of those things, isn't it?
He needed that like the proverbial. So the ball gets tossed back in. McAndrew wins it. As the siren blows, the scoreboard says it's a 1-point victory to the yellow team. I'm not sure whether the scoreboard was correct, but anyway, we had a much more even second half when the experienced Crows defenders went on to the experienced Crows forwards. They evened out the midfield, and we got a very good contest in the end. And I think Adelaide, apart from a couple of little injury concerns with the dislocated thumb of Max Michaelani and I think we're hearing the potential or possible perforated eardrum of Luke Pedler. Apart from that, it looks like most of the players got through unscathed.